Alright, so in this video what we're going to do is I'm going to teach you guys basically how to do a more traditional sort of hand-drawn style animation. So, first thing you want to do is go to Create New. So open up Photoshop, then Create New. And you can see normally we just do whatever. Most of the things we've been working on really have been 9x6. Right, by 300 ppi, because that's just typical kind of print. But that's actually not what we're going to do this time. We're actually going to do something else. So you'll notice on the top there's actually different sections for different mediums, right? And you might notice there's one called Film and Video. So there's a couple different options here, and you can kind of choose which one. But most of these, I think all of them, are HD or the 16:9 resolution, basically meaning widescreen as opposed to 4:3, which is sort of old school. Now 1920 by 1080, that's considered HD. 1280 by 720 is, and not this one. There's also 960 by 540, but I don't think that one's in here. But that's really low. Here's the thing. So if you want to do something that was going to be on a DVD or something, you'd want to do the 1920 by 1080. But you have to remember that you are not creating one image, you're creating a whole slew of them. So not only is it going to be large, it's going to be large times many pages large. So I would suggest doing the 720p. That's typically what I like to work in, just because it's a little bit, it's smaller than that. This will be pretty large. Now, if you're going to end up doing later on like a pixelation or something, you might want to do the higher resolution because your pictures are already higher resolution to begin with. But if not, if you're just doing the drawing stuff, just do 1280 by 10, or yeah, 1280 by 720. So 1280 by 720, you'll notice it's 72 ppi. That's because this isn't for print. Typically for video, it's 72. We run much lower. Again, it's because of, you know, it's much larger files and what have you. The rest of this is fine. Square pixels, yada yada yada. Good. And then hit create. Now, this is it's gonna look like this. Another thing I want you to do, just to kind of get this set up. Well, actually, I'll show you this first. So, see how there's these lines here? These are rulers. Okay, we haven't really been using these too much. You can create them by, as long as you have the ruler out here. See this ruler? You can go to View and turn rulers on and off. See, now it's off. View. I'm gonna put them back on. If they're on though, what you can do is you can click in here and drag out, and you can create your own lines. Okay. And these are useful, and you can do it on both sides. Because let's say I'm going to go with, I'm going to draw something, and do I have snapping on or not? Looks like I don't. Okay. But if I have snapping on, it will actually snap to these lines, and you can use them kind of as a guide, right? Or you can snap things to them. You can use them just like you would use in InDesign, okay? And if you want to get rid of them, you just make sure you have the select tool, just kind of click and drag it off, and it's gone, okay? Now, the reason why I created these to begin with is that in film and video, well, we have what's called title safe and action safe. So title safe basically means that when you're shooting something, you try to keep it within this inner box. And typically that means anything that is a title, anything that's words, because those are really important. And just, you may have seen this sometimes when you're watching a movie or TV show or something, things get cut off, or they don't always know what's getting cut off. So if it's something that's super important, the idea is keep it in here, because that way it won't accidentally get cut off either through technology or through shooting or what have you. That's a little bit better. And then the second one's called action safe, and that's stuff that's like semi-important, like important actions should be in there. This isn't honestly going to be all that helpful for us right now, so to get rid of those, if you want to keep them, you can click and drag them off, but an easier way is just go to View. Just go extras and just turn extras off, and then they'll be gone. It's not really, and actually for that matter, I'm going to get rid of the rulers too, because we don't really need that, right? Save ourselves some screen real estate. Okay, that's good. Now, we've been always working in the Essentials workspace, but you'll notice that there's different ones right here, and you can actually create your own as well. I'm not going to worry about making my own, but you'll see there's one for motion, which is actually what we're going to do. You can also do it over here. Motion. So I'm just going to go ahead and choose motion, and that's going to make this bottom panel pop up, okay? Let's minimize this. And that's great. Now, the thing with that is, I don't need you. That works really great, but all the things that are in here, these are just like pre-made layouts. They don't actually do anything. You could literally just go here and click on timeline, and that would pop this up down here. So if you don't like the rest of this, and to some extent I don't. So like I want color, for instance, so I'm going to go to view color. I'm going to pull this off, and then I'm just going to snap it up in here where this histogram part is. And then I don't need this or the adjustments. I'm just going to close those out. Alright, because all I really need is color and layers. I don't want, get out of here. Okay. Okay, so that's the lump sum of it there. So our workspace is more or less set up. It also changes actually what's available here as well. This can. So for some reason you're seeing a tool that's missing over here. One thing you can do is check that your workspace is set to essentials, or that you're not on like one of the weird ones, because it might get rid of some of that stuff. All right. So what we're going to do is create an animation. So that can be done a couple different ways. We're going to do it this way. You'll see on the bottom it says create video timeline. Don't click on that. What that's going to do is it's going to create video clips that you can cut together, much like you would use if you were in Adobe Premiere or Final Cut or any other nonlinear editor program, right? Or Apple Movie or something. I think there's one that's, I don't know. But it's like a million other ones. That's actually not what we want. We want, click on this, you want to do create frame animation. It is actually possible to do animation in the video timeline too, but I'm just going to do it this way because I feel like it's a little more straightforward. So create frame animation, and then once you choose that option, now you can click on this. Actually, hang on a second. Actually create frame animation. Badoop. Good. And I just want to make this, maybe I can't make it any bigger. And then what we're going to do is, we'll leave it like that. Okay, so create frame animation. We got this little thing here. So this is our one picture, and then we can add more pictures. So for the example here, what I'm going to do is just do a ball bounce animation because it's the most straightforward, easy thing to do. I'm going to unlock this background by clicking on the little lock there, and I'm just going to draw a ground plane so that I have something. So I'm going to use my brush, and I'm just going to hold shift as I draw so it keeps it straight. And then I'm going to hit G for the paint bucket tool, and I'm just going to go ahead and do like a green, right? That looks great. Okay, so that I'm going to call that my ground. I'm going to go ahead and lock that back up. Actually, let's go ahead and double click and just call this background again. Okay, so that'll be my background. I'm just going to lock it. That's going to be on every frame. Okay, now the next thing I need is I'm going to need to make a new layer, and we're just going to go ahead and draw a ball. I'm just going to keep it called layer 1, and I'm just going to use my brush here. Where's my pen? I have a... Hang on one second. Okay, so we got layer 1. This is going to be... Don't want that. So I'm just going to keep using the brush just to make things easier. And in fact, actually, I'm just going to make a red ball, and I'm not going to even give it any outlines because I'm just looking to make it, as simple as possible. So we're going to say that there's a ball up here, and we're just going to go bonk, 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 right? A good example is basically, come on. Let's go over here. If you just go and just type in like ball bounce, go to images, you will see templates on how to draw a ball bounce, and you can literally just follow it. So this one's a really good example here. So you could, I almost want to view, right click view image, just this is what we're looking for. Okay, so you're just looking to do this ball bounce. That's what I'm going to do. So you can see this is basically my drawings. So I'm just going to minimize that, but that's what I'm looking to do, just so you get an idea of what we're aiming for here. Okay, so I'm going to start up here, and I'm just going to draw a ball, and I'm just going to kind of roughly like that, right? It's a beautiful ball. Super great. Okay, now what I need to do is that is my first frame, and it's my first drawing. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to, down here is how you add each subsequent frame. So I'm going to click to make a new frame, okay? So I see I have 2 frames. I'm going to take this first one and have it be, let's say, 0.1 second. I'm going to go on this one and also do 0.1 second. That's how long it's going to hold each one of those frames. Okay, so it'll be 1/10 of a second. Good. So what we're going to have to do now is, I got this frame, and it's that picture. I'm going to go to the second one now, and click on here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new layer. Call this one layer 2. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the next position on layer 2. So that would be right here, roughly. Okay, like that. Now you can see both layers are now visible right on that layer. So what I want to do is on this one, or actually on the first one, I'm going to turn off layer 2, so it's not visible on the first one, right? I'm going to go to the second one. I'm going to turn off layer 1, but make layer 2 visible. So now on the first drawing, layer 1 is visible. On the second drawing, layer 2 is visible. And I'm just going to fix this little smudge here. Okay, so you can see. All right, now what we're going to do is make a new layer, or a new frame. And then I'm going to go ahead and make a new layer. Okay, and then on this layer, I'm just going to draw the next one. So that's going to be down a little bit farther than the previous one. Okay, and same thing as before. I'm going to go to the very first drawing, or the very first frame. I'm going to turn off layer 3. That will turn them off for all the subsequent ones, right? So that's why I always start with the first one to turn them off. And then I'm going to go to my one that I want it on. I'm going to turn off layer 2 and turn on layer 3. So now 1 is layer 1. Frame 2 is layer 2. Frame 3 is layer 3. See? Okay. What I'm going to do is go ahead and make the next one and also make a new layer. So for each layer in each frame, I'm making a new one. And I like to leave the previous layer on so I know what I'm drawing kind of to. And I'm just going to go ahead, and this I'm going to say it's going to start to separate here. So we'll just go ahead and do a circle like that. All right, and I'm going to go to the first frame, go ahead and turn off the layer 4, go back to layer 4, turn off layer 3, and turn on layer 4. And if I hit play, you can see it's starting to move. Yay. Okay. So then I'm just, I'm going to go here, and we're going to go ahead and do a new frame, a new layer, and I'm going to draw the next one, which will be even farther down. Okay. And again, go to the first frame. I'm going to turn off layer 5, go to the last one, turn off this one, turn layer 5 on. All right, and so on and so forth. So now I'm just I'm going to pause it and draw the next couple, so you can, but you get the idea. You're just going to carry right on just like that. So I didn't really finish it because I'm lazy, but now if I hit play on it, you see basically it's sort of bouncing, right? So it's just going frame to frame, and that's how that holds. Now, if for some reason, let's say I wanted to hold on the down here a little bit longer, we can play around with that. I can find the frame that it hits, so it's hitting on 8. So instead of holding for 0.1 second, maybe I'll have it hold for 0.2 seconds. And so now when we go to play it, you'll see it holds on that one a little bit longer. And maybe I could instead have it on this one actually pop up a little bit faster, so I could take this and go, you know, no delay, right? And now it'll pop out of there a little bit faster. So if you want something to hold, like you want something to do something, hold for a second, and then do whatever, all you got to do is just change the delay down on these, and you can play with your timing. Generally speaking, though, when we do animation, we try to keep all the frames the same. You just do more drawings. But I know, you know, what have you, you may or may not want to do that. So this is obviously running 10 frames per second. So typically a Saturday morning cartoon would run at 12 frames per second. That's why you can actually see the individual frames, so it looks a little bit choppy, because it's under kind of the requirement of when we can see motion fluid. Even 12 frames per second, honestly, you can see like a Disney animated feature film is 24 frames per second. So and when you play video games, they're usually shooting for 60 frames per second. It could be like 30, though. 30 to 60 is typically what you're looking for. Okay, so you can see, yay, that is a hand-drawn animation. Now you could do whatever you want with that. Really try to play with it. Don't just do a ball bounce. Like 90% of people end up just doing a ball bounce. You know, do the ball bounce with me here, but then do something on your own that's like a lot more interesting. You know, really try to play around with the style and the color and things, you know, pull to your strengths. You can even do something where all you do is you just maybe you start a drawing and then you duplicate that layer instead of starting a new layer, and then continue the drawing, and then continue the layer, then continue the drawing. You can just make an image come out of nowhere, kind of a thing. Really try to play around with it, see what you can kind of make happen. So once you are done and you're happy, I would just save this such as it is right now. So you just literally Control Shift S, save to your computer, and just save it as a PSD. This will save as PSD. It'll be fine, okay? And you can just submit that. But if you actually want to export it out as a .mov file or an MPEG file or whatever, something that other people can watch also on their computers, all you have to do is, you can't do it directly from here. What you have to do is go over to this little menu, and then you have to actually convert it to a video timeline. And then it will be a video, and from here you can actually export it out. So you can click on this little button here, or you go up to here, and then you'll see render video. Again, that little menu button, and you just select render video. And then all the settings should be fine. Just select the folder. Right now it's going to save to the documents. Change the name up here, but H.264 is what you want. That's a nice low, it'll create a very compressed file, but the quality will be pretty good. It's similar to like a JPEG, right? But for video. So this is all fine. The default settings should be totally cool, and then you just hit render, and it's going to make a video file that you can watch pretty much on any computer that anyone can look at. Okay, so you can do that as well. Cancel that because I don't really care. And that's it. So, but for the assignment, you can either submit me the movie file or you can submit the PSD. I don't care either way. Or you can give me both if you choose to do this style of animation. All right. And if you run into any issues, let me know. And good luck.